Hi, I'm GeoDev, and in this video we're going to look at exporting a vehicle, in this case a skimmer, from 3ds Max, making it ready for importing into Unreal Tournament 3 editor. Now you'll see here I've got everything already set up, a few little bits and extra bits and pieces you'll see here. The main things we're actually looking at is the size of the mesh, e.g. About 6,000 polys. It's more than enough, and I would actually suggest that being the lower limit for a vehicle. Reasons? Well, it's just my way of thinking. I've put lower res meshes and vehicles into the game, and they seem to bounce about a hell of a lot. So I have a nasty feeling that the physics will require minimum sort of poly size, but not being a license holder, I can't say for certain. Anyway, let's get on to this. Right, what we've got here, we've got a straight mesh with a simple, very simple, as you see me clicking around on these max objects, which is my rig. Alright, very simple. Craft base, which is my main route, and everything else, as you can see I've got display subtrees, is actually parented to the craft base. Okay, quite important, as you'll see with future videos when I do other vehicles, why we have to do it this way, but that's the way Epic do it, so that's the way we're going to do it. Okay. Right, what, as you might have noticed, I've got these a few extra bones. I'll click on there again. We've got craft damage front, left, rear and right. Now I use these, as we'll see. Yeah, tell me all about it. Edit envelopes. Craft base, yeah, all that's. Right, I click on the bone, craft damage front. We'll see here that all these vertices are skinned to that bone. Now we need this for damage location, hit locations, and obviously somehow we need to tell Unreal Tournament which morph target to use when we add damage. So take a guess. Yeah, damage front, that's the bone that we're going to put in as for this area. And believe it or not, well, before we go on to that, a little something that I'd like to show. When you're skinning meshes, I use obviously skin modifier, have the vertices clicked, and this lovely little tool down there, it's a spanner called the weight tool, and look, there we go, and we've got all sorts of little tools and fantastic bits. Now I'm going to select some. You see these vertices selected there, and you can see here that this is the actual weighting on it. They're all weighted to the craft base with a weight of 1. Okay, now if I wanted to change that around, I could actually say click that on add that one. You can see, oh look, they're there, and we'll go, oh, I clicked on the 0.5 and now automatically it's took 0.5 off the old bone and put it onto the new bone. I don't really want that, so because that'll mess things up. So I've already exported these meshes in earlier tries of this video, but right, that's a little bit on skinning. We can do a bit more if people want. Now, Actor X, here we go. I'm sure everybody knows how to get that. I'm not going to teach you how to suck eggs. A few little quirky points. Your output folder. Right, browse is going to somewhere else where I don't want it. Last place that I was in. So we'll just go down here. Oh look, all sorts of junk here. Right, UT3 tutorials exports. Now if you think yeah it's showing fine, I use that path, and when you try to export you won't find it because it hasn't took the extra folder. So what we do, we go back to that export. Now as you can see I've exported everything already, so don't worry about that. Alright, so I'll just click on an item that's in there, use path, and now when I scroll along there it's showing where it is, just in case you think oh yeah I've exported it and I can't find the silly objects. Right, mesh file name obviously. Now naming's conventions, very important. Epic has probably spent a lot of time thinking about this, and I didn't use it initially and I regretted that, so I advise you to use their naming convention wherever you can, e.g. SK for a skeletal mesh, VH for a vehicle, and then try and use an original vehicle name. Hovercraft's not that great, but I don't think anybody else is going to use it. Okay, ActorX setup, persistent settings, which is all this job, persistent paths. You think, well, why is that important? Well, if you're doing more than just a one-off export, and you're going to be coming back into Max, if you have that ticked, that will stay the same, and you will not have to reset it all the time. Quite useful, trust me. Persistent settings, that's all this stuff down here. Also very important, all skin types, all textured, all selected, bake smooth groups, bones, cull, unused dummies. You don't see any here, but when you start doing other types of things you'll see dummies, and when you have that ticked and things go a bit pear-shaped, then you know, oh yeah, I'll just try it without that, or just try it without these. It's just little things, but the majority of the time if you've got it set up like that you'll be fine. And I won't save that at the moment because that'll mess me up, so I'll go back up there and you'll go right. Okay, well hang on, go on. Let's see, because this will then put me onto something else that I've been going on about. Right, save mesh pose, there we go. Code dummies, unsmooth groups, PSK file written. Fantastic. Right, what's all this other stuff he's got up here? Well, these, when I start clicking on these, oh look, instant damage. Well, it's not instant damage. All I've done is I did an edit poly modifier and moved some vertices around. Very simple, very easy, very quick. Doesn't look fantastic, but it does the job. Now, unfortunately, we can't change the names of these things up here. So what I do is that I make a list of everything that I need for each vehicle. Okay, trust me, it will be so helpful as we carry on with these videos to actually know what we've actually got in each file without having to start Max up, without having to start the Unreal Editor up all the time. So basically when we go on to coding, so you've got all your bones. Oh, this also helps stop you making typos, trust me, I do a lot of them. So we've got all the bones in there, the package name that we're going to use, the mesh name, these, the morph target names, damage front, damage rear, damage left, damage right. Very simple to use, and try to make things obvious. If you're working in a team and somebody else is going to have to be doing things for you, then if you start being a bit obscure with your names, it's not going to help a lot. The sockets that you're going to need, I'll run into this when we start playing with Unreal Editor, and the materials. Now if you type these all out using a lot of copy and paste and just add in the little bits and pieces on you need, when you actually come to do your coding and all your other bits and pieces, if you keep this as like a reference file, then the chances are you're not going to do any typos and things will actually run a lot easier. Okay, right. So what we're going to do, okay, let's just export a damage. Copy, a morph target. The morph target, this one being the right hand side, no, that's the left hand side, you fool. The right hand side. Now, to export a morph target, you'll see here, because I've done it on the editable poly, do not, and I repeat, do not add or remove any polygons, any vertices, anything. Just move things about so it looks like it's damaged and go for it. Alright, and now all we do is go dink, dink, save, thank you, thank you, thank you, and that's it done. Very easy. I think, well, no, that's not it for the moment, so we'll go back here. Now what we'll do here, well, turn all this off. So we've got a nice clean mesh. Make sure we just have the mesh selected, and we're going to export selected. As you can see, I've already done this. Typical Blue Peter. Here's one I prepared earlier. Right, why do I want it as an object? Well, when you start using the 3D paint programs, which I'm going to show you at a later date, you'll see why. They only, for some reason, accept OBJ files. Okay, so that's that done. The next one we want to do is actually the depth mesh. And you say, well, do we need it? Well, sometimes you might want to, sometimes you don't want to. So all I've done here, I've activated all my damage modifiers, and then export, not as a OBJ this time, as a ASE file. Okay, let's go save. Yeah, thanks. I'll just leave everything. Well, I suppose we could add them on there. Don't need helpers, lights, cameras, shapes. Just leave the geometry and go thank you, and that should be it. Now we're now ready to bring this into UT Unreal Tournament 3 editor. Okay, see you there soon.